Hi everyone, this is Felicia Koringle, and this is my story for data visualization. I've chosen to use data from the Chicago Transit Authority, and I've got the link to their website with the data sets that are available down here at the bottom. I pulled 3 different sets, so their information on their bus lines, their L trains, and then some geocoding, so the latitude and longitude of the different train stations, as well as what lines those stations are associated with. And I was able to join that to the L data using the station number. The data spans 2001 to 2015 by month and includes the monthly ride totals for each station or bus route, the average weekday rides, and the average Saturday, Sunday, and holiday rides. This first chart shows that the train volume is increasing but is still outpaced by buses. The trains that are here on the left, buses on the right. Blue line is during the week. Saturdays are green. Sundays and holidays are orange. And you can see that the volume throughout the week parts on trains has been increasing over the past 15 years. But in 2015, trains basically matched where buses were in 2001 on Saturdays. Bus volume during the week is much higher, but you can see that the the bus volume is relatively flat, and actually in all parts of the week has been decreasing the last several years. I'm not sure whether that's something to worry about or whether that is a systematic choice by the CTA. Maybe they've decreased the number of routes or buses. This next chart gives us another way of looking at this data, breaking things down further by each one of these dots represents a different month of the year. And as we move forward in time, we're going to see these dots get darker. And I'm going to animate this. This will give us the train volume on the horizontal axis, the bus volume on the vertical, and we'll see the volume move further to the right there on the train volume. We're staying pretty closely clustered here in 2004, 2005. Not a lot of changes. Now we see a little bump in buses in 2008, and then things as we move forward start to shift. The bus volume does not increase and actually starts decreasing, but we're moving into higher numbers for the train totals. Out here you can see October 2015. This is October 2012, October 2008. And some of these lower numbers are February's, December's, and January's. And if we look a little closer at that, down here I've done a box and whisker chart for train volume by month. So each one of the dots represents a different month of the year, where we've got the years down here at the bottom. The way the box and whisker charts work is this line in the middle here represents the median, and then each one of these lines we see here is a different quartile. So the box represents sort of the mid 50%. We see in every one of these years the upper number, and in some cases it's considered an outlier, it's so high. That's October. So very high volume in October, and invariably these numbers, if you look at the tooltip information, February, December, January, December, February. So the winter months are always the lower portion of volume on the trains. Here's where I use the latitude and longitude to be able to map out where the train stations are, and things are color-coded by the lines, just like if you were to look at a map of the L trains, these are the lines that you would use. Purple line up here going along the lake shore into the northern suburbs. Blue line has a branch out to O'Hare and another one out to Forest Park. Orange line comes along here down to Midway Airport. The red line pretty much follows the lakeshore into downtown and then to the south side. And you'll notice the green line goes out west and then down south here, and here it runs parallel to the red line, and we'll see in the next chart why that's important to note. Okay, here's just focusing on the train volume. We've got a bubble chart. We've got a bar chart. We've got a line chart over time. The bubble chart, each bubble represents, it's color-coded for the line that it represents. and the size of the bubble is determined by the average monthly total rides. So we can see that the red line has, on average, each station, excuse me, in the red line has about 160,000 people riding, whereas on the purple line, it's less than 33,000. And I've set it up so that if we click on the bubble in that part of the dashboard, it limits the data in the other parts. So we can focus in here and see that the leisure volume is slightly higher for the purple line than the weekday volume on average, and we can really start to see the seasonality of ridership. So low in the winter, high in October, low in the winter, high in October. We can also do this for multiple lines. So let's pick the red and the green line. And the green line is such low volume compared to red, you really can't even see seasonality. You can see it in the red, but you'll also notice that there's a dip here in the summer months and a corresponding increase in the green line in the that same summer of 2013. And drilling down into the data further, I determined that the CTA had closed the southern portion of the red line for those summer months, so there was no volume for 3 or 4 months. And so the green line running parallel to it was where people were able to shift over by just going a couple of blocks over, take the green line instead, and then once the red line opened up, you can see that the green line normalized itself to where it was prior to the red line closing. I did the same chart. This is for the bus routes, but I'll show you, unlike the trains, I just expanded this to show every route name that is in the Chicago area. Some of these are express buses, excuse me, shuttles that are used for special events. A lot of them are much lower volume than we want to focus on. So I added a filter in here on the weekday average so that we can kind of get the chart to of the weekday volume versus weekend or holiday volume, get that a little bit more readable. Again, focusing on the trains, this is the map of the train volume. It's color-coded on a gradient, and you can see on the left here, this is average weekday rides. Right is average leisure, so weekend and holiday rides. And there's some interesting things here. First off, you see the purple line is low volume, both weekend and leisure. Having lived in the Chicago area, I know that there is a metro line, so a commuter train line that runs to the northern suburbs, and I would surmise that people are opting to take that because there are fewer stops. It's probably from up there, it might be express into the city, as opposed to taking the purple line down and then having to shift over to the red line. Here's our airports. O'Hare and Midway are gray here during the week, so just middle of the road volume, but you will see that O'Hare is green on the weekends, so their weekday volume was just over 9,000 rides a day, going up to over 15,000. And just want to point out that this is over the full 15 years of data. I suppose I could have added in a time filter as well. And so I would theorize that that's people coming from out of town who don't want to rent a car, take a plane to O'Hare and then take the train into the city. Midway, we don't see that same thing happen. It seems to be maybe used more for business travel. We see some of these stops here. This red stop, so it's sort of on the low end here, is Addison. And over here on the right, we'll see it's green, so it goes much higher on the weekends. And anybody who has seen the Blues Brothers will know that 1060 West Addison is Wrigley Field. So that's a stop that Cubs fans would be utilizing. And similarly, during the week, the Roosevelt stop, middle of the road. On weekends, much more popular. That's where the Field Museum and Adler Planetarium is. This last stop on the red line at the Dan Ryan Expressway, very heavy volume during the week, very heavy volume on weekends. That would maybe indicate to me that the line should be extended further south, because there seem to be a lot of people getting on the train there, and we might want to look into why that is. Here's another way of looking at the data by station and over time. I created a variable called most volume, and so it's broken out as leisure time or work week. So if the work week volume is higher than leisure time, so here you can see that the weekday volume is 170,000 at the Dan Ryan stop. Leisure rides was 155,000 in 2001. It will have a star if work week is higher. If leisure time is higher, it will have a circle, and these are color-coded by the lines that they're associated with. So that we can focus on certain stops, I added a filter for stations, so maybe we don't want to look at Jackson, but we want to see what's going on with the Merchandise Mart. We can do that. You'll see that Dan Ryan had work week volume was higher from 2001 through 2007, and then it shifted, looks like it shifted to more leisure volume. We see Midway, more workday volume through 2014, and then 2015 slightly, see it's 110.1 versus 110.3, slightly more leisure volume. And then O'Hara's leisure, where the Sox play, that stop is leisure. I also added in here a data parameter so we can drill down, so perhaps to quarter. And here we can see a little bit more going on. So where we saw Midway, what looked like it was all workday volume, we can start to see that there are some anomalies or some trends. So here I see this is the quarter starting July 2005, 2006, July 2007. So we can see that those summer months, there's actually more volume on weekends and holidays than the rest of the week at Midway. And then you'll see both here at Sox 35th and the Dan Ryan stop. Those are south stops, southern part of the red line, which I said was closed in the summer of 2013. And so that's indicated here with that X. And then we could drill down even further into month if we wanted. It gets a little busy, so I added in a control in here so we could filter by specific years to kind of clean things up if people wanted to do that. Here's a tree map of the volume, average monthly volume by a hierarchy of lines, and then drilling down into stations. So this right here, it's the Clark Lake station. This is just volume out of one station. It's a point where you can transfer between 6 different lines, which would explain why that volume is so heavy. If we look over here, this is the red line, an average of 160 rides per month over 29 stations. So each one of those 29 stations has an average of 160,000. If we drill down into station name, then we can see here's all those 29 stations. They're ranging from the Lake and Chicago stops, which are close to 400,000, down to Jarvis's 40,000. Here we see our Clark Lake station again. So this gives us a way of kind of drilling a little bit further and seeing what stops might be most important, from a volume standpoint. So as far as next steps, we'd want to probably, we do see the volume is increasing and shifting to trains. Might want to see why the volume on the north side of town is low. Should trains be dropped, or people using the express trains? And might want to consider extension south of the Dan Ryan, since we see such a large amount of volume on that last stop. So that's my presentation. Thanks so much.